The hearing. My wife and I have been married for about 4 years and together for almost 8. We started out as me 21 and her almost 18. Our relationship started out not liking each other at all. We were both in relationships and worked together. Both of our relationships were not happy ones, and we ended up finding friendship in each other. It quickly turned into a desire to be around each other and connect emotionally. We ended up leaving our others and got together. A few days into our separate breakups, she slept with her ex and a few months later found out she was pregnant. We knew it wasn't mine because we didn't sleep together for a while in the beginning. I don't fault her for this anymore. She was just under 18 and had a background of partying and promiscuity. I dealt with the news by jumping headfirst into supporting her and being there for her. I didn't deal with any issues that I would have with the situation, and that was a mistake because it led to a lot of pent-up anger and resentment after our son was born. Other dad wants nothing to do with him, and he's now 6 and I call him as my own. She stayed with me through the anger and how I took it out on her emotionally, which I know now is wrong. In the course of our time together, we've had a son of our own and bought a house. Somewhere in this time I grew distant from her emotionally and physically. I withdrew into myself and didn't notice it. I just went to work and came home. That spark we had been there and I was too lazy or oblivious to see it. My wife didn't help the situation by pretending she was still happy and that nothing was wrong. So, I didn't do anything to fix a problem that I didn't see. We've always had non-disposable income and had to struggle to make things work out. Recently our home was foreclosed and we had to move. It ended up working out for our situation because we're renting a home closer to our places of work and our oldest can begin kindergarten in the town we wanted. Our relationship was beginning to experience problems that we were beginning to discuss before we had to move, dealing with the emotional withdrawal. But when we moved here, we got the internet, and within 2 weeks of getting the internet is when the problem started. I had trust issues with my wife that I had worked on by myself and was at the point where I was okay with things. I used to make comments to her when she got back from a night out, which either of us hardly do because we work opposite shifts to save money on daycare and our time is spent with the kids. I ended up seeing the history was open one day, which I'd noticed before but never investigated even though I felt I should. Just scrolling through the history, I found a lot of web activity at a dirty website and went to it. Somehow one of the links I clicked on went right into her account and I saw what it was really all about. It was an adult website dating service and I was in her personal ad looking for love. I was devastated with this and called her at work just going crazy. She even tried to deny it at first until I started reading back information to her. We had many long talks over the next week or so, some were healing and others were vent sessions. We talked about why we'd gotten to the point where she was looking around for companionship and I found she was talking to a guy already and into how he made her feel. She deleted her account and emailed everyone she talked to leave her alone to try and start getting my trust back. We are trying to reignite what we once had and I thought we were doing a good job at it. I'm not a social person by nature and have been forcing myself into situations to branch myself out emotionally and to make her happy. I've had bad days but had strung a week or so of good days together without the all-consuming bad day happening. Then I found out that she had searched for this guy she had contacted before on MySpace and was sent back down because I'd opened myself up to her and felt that she was just betraying my attempt at trusting her. I found out about other little lies that she was telling about things but nothing too big. We ended up not sleeping in the same bed over this last thing, and she didn't talk to me about it. I emailed her just a long ramble of my feelings and she emailed me back that she isn't happy and she doesn't know why. She wants to leave me, but she loves me and then she flops to not wanting to leave me. She said that the reconnecting time we'd spent seemed forced to her even though I thought we were making some real progress on that because I felt things starting to spark back up and I thought she'd felt the same. We're going to stay up and talk tonight when she gets home from work and talk things out. I really don't know what to do. I feel betrayed and lost. I don't want to live without her, but I don't know if I can get past this. We've been talking that maybe divorce or separation might be the way to go. I wish we could do counseling, but we can't afford to see anyone and I'd much rather sit with someone than do something online that might be free. I want this to work and I think she does too, but I'm really confused with this whole thing and what I should do. I also want to apologize for the length of this. I tend to ramble when I'm explaining things, as you can see, and hope that someone can give me some unbiased advice. Our friends and family are very side-oriented. Her and I talked for 4 hours last night and got a lot out about what is going on. She is basically where I was with her emotions, and I am on my way to getting better. She said she is having a hard time feeling anything right now, and not just with us. She's having a hard time connecting with our kids, people she works with, and even some of her longtime friends. Some of this had to do with her thinking I wasn't committed to changing myself because I've said many times before I would and then a few weeks into it I'd regress. I think I convinced her about my sincerity this time though because this was one of those epiphany type of moments for me. I told her that I'd support her and help her work out whatever is wrong with her. I don't know if she has some type of mental problem, her dad had problems, again, or if she's just having a hard time coping with all the change that is going on. She felt like I was forcing myself to try and love her again, but that wasn't the case. I really hope this is one of those best-case scenario type of things, because at our core we're a pretty strong couple, but we just have some big issues we need to tackle. Half a year later, we talked for days and she said she didn't want to be with me anymore, but that if I changed some things that we could see where things were. We worked things out and got to a place where we seemed happy and working on us again. Then a day I have been afraid of since learning how cruel the world can be becoming. We were working on things and then she told me that for the last month and a half she'd been seeing someone else and had cheated on me with this guy. She met him at a bar and he didn't care that she was married and we had 2 kids. She began to dump on me all the things she had been lying about to me the last few months, and we decided to separate. The more we talk, the more it seems like she wants to try dating me again and see where that goes. But my main problem is that she still wants to see this other guy, even though she's told me that she doesn't see it going anywhere. He is very serious about her. He lived in Florida and passed up a chance to move back because of her. But I don't know if she's telling us both the same thing. I love her with everything I am. She helped me rediscover things I love about me, and I want things to work out between us. I hear a lot of contradictory things come from her, and I have serious bouts of anger and sadness that I can't control. It's all internal, but I'm afraid if it starts to spill over. I can't afford therapy because I'd love to try, but I don't know how to deal with any of this. She isn't just my wife, she's my best friend, and we only have each other to talk to about all of this. We are stuck in a lease and still live together. Kind of important information. I haven't actually moved out yet, but it will happen. Not just because we decided to, but because of everything that's happened. I need to. Just how I had lost contact with us as a couple and that I was not who I used to be when we met. But I did change that. It was an enlightening moment when I did, but the changing that I did was apparently only for myself, because she didn't change anything about what she was doing. She escalated her behavior to where we are now. I don't understand why it went this way and what happened to the woman that I fell in love with, or why she tells me she hopes we can work things out and that she loves no one more than she loves me, while at the same time telling me she won't stop seeing this guy and that she really likes him. My emotions are so all over the place that I can't get anything straight. I know living together is a bad idea for working things out or even with just moving on, but it's the only option we have for at least a few more weeks. I like getting other opinions on situations is all. She isn't working right now and I'm supporting her and my 2 boys on my paycheck, which is why I can't afford counseling right now, but I do agree that I need to see a professional. And I didn't need to get angry to separate from her. Once the affair happened, that was enough. I can't stay around with that kind of knowledge in my head. The last week or 2 have been pretty good for us. She seems to be wanting to be honest with me about whatever she can and trying to connect and bond more with me. We both agree that separating is the best thing, but I truly believe that she's trying to get us to a better place before I move out so we can try and reconcile in the future. Does that seem true to anyone else? Because my confusion level throughout all of this has been very high. I've posted my situation here already, but a quick overview. Wife doesn't want to be with me right now. She was already seeing someone else. We're separating. We still live together because she isn't working now. Minus 2 kids together. I still love her. Too much, I'm told. So, the new development now is that she's pregnant. I know, crazy, right? Not only that, but she doesn't know if me or the is the father. We haven't had a conception date confirmed yet, but the chances are that it's not mine. If the child isn't mine, then I'm completely out for good. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, and she knows this and it scares her because she wants to keep the option of us reconciling later there. I'm still moving out when we get our finances a little more under control, but what in the holy hell am I supposed to do with this now? She told me that she's not sure if she wants to keep the baby if it isn't my child, because she doesn't want a kid with this guy at all. Yeah, wrap it up then, right? But also because he's not from the state we live in and she thinks he'll try to bolt back to his home state when the child is born. He's already told her that if the child isn't his, then he wants nothing to do with her, and if it is, then he wants custody and she can see the child if he needs her to. What did I do to deserve this, and what should I do now? The majority of my close friends have asked why I'm still subjecting myself to this and why haven't I broken the door down to throw her out of it. But emotion does play a huge part in this. I was one of those guys who said, oh, if this ever happens to me, but you're right. You can't really say one way or the other until you are confronted with the situation. Obviously, when I was confronted with it, I did the opposite of what I always said I'd do. Hell, so did she, because she always said that if it ever came to infidelity, she'd talk to me about it before she left, and that she'd never do it while still in our relationship. The thing that is getting me now is mostly about the pregnancy, because even if it's not mine, she's still my best friend and I'll still be there to help her through it, but I don't know how to deal with that emotionally. And God, if it is mine, how am I supposed to deal with moving out of the house from my pregnant wife who doesn't want to be with me and who I love still? Sometimes life is just terrible. The way she's been acting around me lately, it seems as if she has had her wake-up call. She hasn't said out loud that she wants to leave the other guy yet, but she calls him a psycho among other names to me. I hope it is mine though, just for the fact that she is a great mom and I enjoy having children with her. Also, it would complicate our lives and our other boys' lives much less to not have to deal with something like this. I also can't not be her best friend. I told her that at the end of the day she will at least have that from me. And I also said that you never know about the future and that maybe if I do decide to not get back with her, 10 years or so down the road we might both be in a positive enough place to try again. She cried when I said that. She does love and care about me, but not the way she needs to right now to pursue a positive marriage. I know this and she knows that I'm leaving no matter what. For my own mental health. It's just complicating things more internally for me with this pregnancy thing. She's going to go to the doctor soon to get her conception date, and hopefully that will bring us some good news. We don't have the best of luck and I think maybe the powers that be owe us just this one time. Another addition to my backstory is that my 6-year-old isn't my biological child. She got pregnant a few days before we started seeing each other when she was 17. I had a lot of mental problems with this after he was born, and that started her mental, emotional decline in our marriage. I don't want to seem blameless in all of this, but for better or worse, right? It took me a while, but I got through it and love that boy just the same as I do of my own flesh. She just didn't feel the same when I finally came around. I told her that I've raised one child that isn't mine, under completely different circumstances, but I can't do it again, especially under these ones. We've done some research and we can have a paternity test done between 8 to 12 weeks. So once we have a conception date and find out how far along she really is, then we can have some questions answered. I know it has its risks, but this is something that needs to be done. I guess I should clarify supporting a bit. I don't mean pay for things for her and this baby. I just mean that I will be there for her as a friend. If she needs someone to talk to or go with her to an appointment, I will do that. I am in no way going to pay for her to take care of someone else's kid. I will do everything I can for my own, but I refuse to help her financially for that situation. She has been doing her best to be as honest as she can with me lately. She tells me things she doesn't want to say and I don't want to hear. She hasn't talked to the in over a week. They had a blowout when she told him she was pregnant and it might be his kid. He's 31, career-driven, and very self-absorbed, so he's very much not happy with it. He told her that she either needs to give him the kid or have an abortion. When she told him it would be selfish to have an abortion, he said he hopes she has a miscarriage because she is just ruining other people's lives, and that's not fair to him. I know. The same trash who had no problem helping to ruin my life is saying this. Sorry, had to go with that feeling. So now her demeanor towards me has changed 100%. She wants to cuddle and be close to me. We still regularly have slept together and say we love each other. Hell, we talk better and seem to bond better now than ever before. And she even told me tonight that she got a personal ringtone for me on her phone, Stand By Me. Old school Bill Withers style. I don't want this message to get twisted up because I am not dedicating myself emotionally anymore to her. I told her that I am plateauing the way I feel because if I invest more into her than I already am, then this will just devastate me more in the long run, and I'm grateful that I've realized that much. And I will be out if this is not my child. I told her that maybe 10 years down the road we'd be in a place to reconcile, but that wasn't even a given. She was very upset about that and saddened deeply when I said it. I don't know, but I have a very strong feeling that this change in demeanor is due to buyer's remorse. So, to speak, her option has fallen through and everything she was working towards moving forward, past with, has crumbled around her, and she needs to fall back on good old reliable to feel better about things. I'm not dumb and I know what's going on, but I still can help but feel happy to see some things like they used to be and feel positive about where we can go. She still knows I'm leaving and still thinks that it'd be the best thing for us because she knows I need to get away from all of this craziness. The ringtone thing broke me down mentally for a little bit, but for the most part I feel like I am making good progress with how I feel and think about what's going on. I feel like I'm having many moments of clarity, and this site is helping me out immensely. Just with saying things I can't say to her or my friends, and also having people respond who've been in similar situation or actually know how to help someone in need. She is currently looking into a paternity test done so we don't all have to go through this with so many question marks. We both need to know where things are going with the direction of our lives. Can't live the next 6 to 7 months in wonder. I know there are risks to having an amnio done, but we need to have answers. She also has a part-time job now and has just gotten another one that may end up being full-time. So that is one step closer to me leaving, and hopefully it won't take too long to happen. I know staying in this situation isn't healthy for me or my kids and it needs to change. So, a little status update on me. Just found out through some internet digging, and I didn't have to look hard, that the affair my wife had has become affairs, not singular. So, this is probably the last straw for me. My mindset is terrible right now and my hatred and anger for this woman is indescribable. She was sleeping with an ex-BF that was her first love and found out she was meeting a guy she met on the internet too. I don't know if that is everything or if there's more, I don't know, but really, how much more do I need to know? Now I wonder how many people the father of this baby could be instead of just me. 2 months later, my wife and I have been talking a lot and are still in agreement that we are separating. I already have a place to live lined up and she's working on hers. My boys are going to stay with her because I am going to be moving in with my dad so I can get myself debt-free and clear. He also recently went through divorcing my mom and doesn't have the kind of room to house 2 little boys anyway. I think it's the best living arrangement considering. My wife found out that she isn't as far along as they had originally set for her, which means the odds of this child being mine have increased exponentially. I am happy for this news because I want my boys to be affected the least amount as possible by all of this. We talked last night and decided that we are going to work things out. She truly seems like she wants to be with me in life and only me. She hates what she's done and expresses to me the sorrow, guilt, and shame she feels for what's happened. The hardest thing about all of this is that I finally have the woman right in front of me that I fell in love with and who I've been waiting to have back for a long time now, and I don't know if I'm in a place to fully make a go at this. We are agreed to take this slow and just see where it goes. She told me that I have to work out my problems before we can be any kind of official. She doesn't want to feel like either of us is halfway into our relationship because that's how things fell apart in the first place, which I agree with. I am really debating trying to work things out, but the baby will be a problem if I'm found to not be the father. My wife sat me down yesterday and told me she just found out that she has chlamydia, so now I probably do too. I am trying to look at this as positively as possible. I could have something worse than this, but I don't. I found out my test results for chlamydia came back negative, which was great. My antibodies are great, I guess. I still had to get treated, and for all my brothers out there who've had to go through that, I feel your pain. My wife and I have spent the last 3 months in serious dialogue about the direction of our lives. She wants to try counseling now, something she was very against before, and she's gotten rid of every internet thing aside from MySpace and Facebook, and those were never a problem in the first place. She has cut the other guy out too. She contacted him about him giving her an STD, but she said she doesn't need to talk to him again unless the baby turns out to be his. She told me she did all of this for her more than me because she doesn't need any of those things in her life, and she also said she doesn't want any of it either. Thoughts? To clarify, she didn't treat me badly our whole marriage. It was the opposite, in fact. I was mean and angry towards her for about 6 years of our relationship because I was too immature mentally to deal with starting a relationship with someone and being dad to a child not my own. She showed me undying love and support through this period of time, and I just kept turning her away. She could only help me so much, but I was the one who could turn myself around. She got to a point where she gave up on me and the marriage. She couldn't move out financially without me, so she just moved on in every other way. I don't agree or enjoy how things have happened, but I do understand them. I'm not afraid or too dependent to move on. I just love her. I live with my dad while I take care of some debt, and I see my kids when I want. On the side, we're trying to see if we can work things out. I have been on a few dates and have a few girls interested in me. I chose this path because it's what I want for my life. To clarify, I was the problem for most of our marriage. For about 6 years I was mean and angry towards her. I wasn't mentally mature enough to handle a new relationship and being dad for the first time to a child that wasn't mine. She showed me more patience, love, and support than lots of spouses out there. I just refused it and pushed her away. So, after a lot of emotional damage, she quit the relationship but wasn't financially stable to leave, but she left in every other way. I'm not dependent or afraid to move on. I don't like or agree with how things happened, but I do understand it. I live with my dad now until I can clear up my debt. I've been on a few dates and have a few ladies interested in me. I choose to work things out because I want to. I have opened up to her more than I have even myself, and am a much better person with her around, and it's not something I want to give up on without trying to see if it's savable. 3 months, every waking moment of, is a long time to reflect. She isn't holding on because she's pregnant. She's been on her own for a while now and doing fine. We were trying to work things out before we found out she was pregnant. It just threw a major wrench in the works and complicated our intentions even more. She is as open and honest with me as she can be. She has the spark of excitement in her eye about us again, and I admit to a lot of blame for letting it go away. She is trying what she can to earn my trust and full love back, and it will be a long road, but we've both agreed we don't want to rush back into things. Just let things play out. No matter which side of the road we ended up on, then at least we know it's the right one, and not one out of loneliness, desperation, or for the kids. I realize that it may sound like I'm making excuses for her, but I'm just trying to get across the point that I understand the causes of her actions emotionally. I don't agree or fully forgive the infidelity, and neither does she. She acknowledges things spiraled out of control, and she has to live with that guilt. She's burst into tears many times at the drop of a hat because of what she's done to me. I'm sure much of what I say now contradicts my original post, but that was me processing real time while things were happening. I really hope I don't stay in this section only and can make my way to the reconciliation section, but that's a long way off, if at all, and I'm trying to be rational about my progress as opposed to getting hopeful. This site is a big help for me with just getting things out, and with this baby coming, I'm sure I'll need the crutch more in the near future. I agree that it may seem like I've given her many chances, but it's not like I found out one thing. We tried to work things out, and then she turned around and kept on stepping out. I found out everything after the fact, which I know is terrible, but the manipulation level is a little different to me. I found everything out when she originally told me about her affair, and the rest I found out on my own. When I asked her about the rest, she said she didn't tell me because she thought it would be the blow to our working things out. And I agree that I was showing her more love than I was getting, but now she is dedicated and loving and open with me. We talk about the future, our feelings, and our hopes all the time together. We laugh, play, and cry together again. It feels like it used to when we first got together again, and it's nice. My question to everyone now is, how did you mentally cope with someone who wants to move away from the past and build towards a future? I want to be happy and move forward, maybe with her, but there are a lot of days where I get so lost and self-destructive playing around in my head that it's hard to be positive. I just want to get to a place where I live my day as well as I can without dark thoughts creeping in anymore. To me, it's not fair to her, me, or the process we're trying to go through to move forward. So, I think I'm going to commit fully to saving this relationship with my wife. Also, the main thing is that I'm going to continue this pregnancy with the belief that the baby is mine. We both have talked extensively after the ultrasound, and the math just doesn't seem to work out any other way. Even with all of this decision-making, we are still going to be living separately, mainly for financial purposes, but to also try and get that spark back completely. I've read here that a lot of couples lose that connection when they live apart and don't recapture it. Is there anyone out there who separated and had it work out? Our way of thinking is that this will show us how much we will really miss the other person and that we will long to be together again. When she texts anyone, she tells me who it is and what it's about and offers to show me. We don't have the internet yet, so that's a big obstacle later on. EOM last tried to contact her Memorial Day weekend to see how her holiday was going, but she never responded and let me listen to the message. She said she has only gotten a hold of him to tell him about the chlamydia, and that is it. I don't know, but I do believe her sincerity in this whole process. She seems genuinely happy again and loves to be around me too. During my reflection, I realized I was fooling myself when I said she loved me, wanted me around, and that everything in general was okay. It's easy for me to look back on the way questions were answered and actions that took place and think how oblivious to the obvious I was. It's hard to believe how easy it was to see, but I just refuse to. I won't be held blameless in this, and it's important to me to remember that. The man she originally loved went away for a while, and the woman I loved did too. Now we're in a like mind and hopeful. We are still going to go see a counselor after money is more stabilized. She really doesn't want to go but sees it as a step that needs taken. She knows they will just blame everything on her childhood. She hates that and wants to be held accountable for her own actions, which I can understand. This is by no means a closed case, and I will lean on this site heavily when I need it, which is still a lot. I just don't get it. Background: she cheated 3 times. 2 physical, 1 relationship. She admitted, stopped extra relationship after a while. We decided to fully commit. Some days are so effortless and others are great struggles. The ones that are the most difficult, it seems like the world is conspiring against me. Every song, every word, show, sign, or person remind me of what happened. I don't want to take things out emotionally on my wife or kids, but on those days, I find myself just shutting down and can't stop it. How do you deal with these feelings of sadness and loss? I know it's well I lost what I did because it was dead, and what I have now is life again. But I seem to enjoy making myself hurt. I don't know any other way to describe it. I consider myself a very rational person and don't know why I do it or how I could stop this. The baby was conceived after her affair had ended, so there is no for sure paternity right now. The due date we were given at the ultrasound puts conception on my shoulders, but you can't be for sure. I've been through this before with her and my oldest boy. She got pregnant by her ex a few days into us starting to see each other. That caused a lot of the problems that I am dealing with today. He's due in October. She has to have a cesarean, so the date will be planned. They will likely take him out a week or so before her due date to avoid natural birth. I am very worried about this day. We've already made plans for me to not be at delivery. But mentally, emotionally preparing for this is very difficult because I don't know which angle I'm approaching it all from. Both of us have admitted our faults and acknowledged we were both to blame for where we headed. I don't understand what hoops she needs to go through, I guess. She cut contact with the OM. No news about the pregnancy and how she's doing. I told everyone about the affair shortly after I found out, and I kept it positive about how I wanted to still be her husband and I wasn't supporting an affair. I didn't know about the steps, but that's what I did on my own. She has been honest to me about everything. I've checked on things and found her to be truthful when they look bad on her. Last time she saw was when he came into her work to ask about the baby. She has since changed jobs. I understand the letter thing, but I don't see how it'd help now. I told her straight up, "You forfeited any relationship, friend or otherwise, with these people. If you want us to go forward, this is how it has to be." My wife went out by herself with some friends for the first time since we've really buckled down trying to work this out. It's a friend of hers' 21st birthday and a small group of them are out celebrating it. I'm really not too bad with this. She's been doing a lot to regain and keep my trust these last 10 months. I think that her being very large pregnant has a lot to do with my comfortability with this. I really don't think I'd be okay with this right now if she wasn't pregnant. I know I'd be really paranoid and going crazy right now, but instead I've been watching football and the UFC all evening and cooking out with my boys. This pregnancy coming to an end is getting me pretty spooked. I'm not sure how my feelings will change when this is over. I have a strong comfortability in our situation right now. I know she'd kind of have to be more needing this to work while she's pregnant and less inclined to move on. I'm also pretty tired and my thoughts are all over the place right now. I've been thinking more and more lately about her cheating on me, visualizing and imagining things that have happened. Every day it gets closer to this baby being born. These thoughts are getting stronger. I'm feeling more and more anxious every day. I'm really afraid with how I'm going to freak the day this happens. Probably Thursday. We were stuck in a lease together. Neither of us wanted to leave the kids and she had nowhere to go. She fully still planned on leaving me when the lease was up. Then she found out she was pregnant. My response: I love you, and we can work on this. Get an abortion or give me the kid because you are too stupid to have it. I have a feeling that is the moment her fog lifted and she said, what the hell am I doing? It wasn't until that moment that we had a chance. Because until then it was just me trying to keep us moving forward. Then when she joined me it made a world of difference. I really don't know what to do anymore. I love my wife and want to be with her, but this is so difficult. I am so sad right now. I want to and feel like crumbling and sobbing, but I can't. Like something is blocking me from releasing. So sad. Every time I look at this baby, I don't see me. This is so obviously not my son. I don't see my wife in him either. Just that other man. How can I do this? I see this boy and am constantly reminded of wrongs. My wife deserves better but wants that to be me. I don't know what to do anymore. This is not what I prepared myself for. I never could have foreseen feeling this sad. I don't take things out on my wife or kids. Like you said, extinguishers. No sense of ruining this if I can get through it. It just seems so hopeless right now. So, things have been pretty up and down lately. I haven't been coping well with all of this. The first week was very bad and we were back to being roommates again. I have really enjoyed the way this has amplified my relationship with my two boys though. We had an in-depth discussion the other night and I am feeling better about things at the moment. I am very bad about repressing my feelings and letting it affect relationships. But when I let it out and feel better for it. My wife is getting ready to leave right now to meet him so he can see his baby. She was going to go to his place to do it but I said no and now she is going to do it somewhere public. The mall. I was not comfortable with her being at his place and I'm kind of glad she saw this my way. I'm not going to lie. I fully expected to beat this guy within an inch the first time I came in contact with him. I told my wife I was going to, that there was nothing she could do to stop me, and I prepared myself for the legal repercussions. I needed to vent this way because I am so pent up that I feel that rage and anger is the only way I can get it out. I came to a new realization the other day though. I won already. I could destroy this puny guy at any time I please. But I have the woman he wanted to have. I have his baby to raise how I see fit, and I am going to be getting money from him to do all that. I don't see any kind of revenge on someone who's wronged me that is better than that. It's not about getting revenge, but this is a kind of closure for me. I look at the baby differently now than I have been, and I'm glad for that cause he didn't do any of this to me. So, we had a conversation for a few hours. She told me she was lying to her friend, but I haven't quite figured out why yet. She told me she's been unhappy with me for a very long time. She said also that she's unhappy with herself, which makes it hard for her to be happy with us. She said it seemed like I've hated her for a while now, but that she still loves me and wants this to work because of that. I don't know really what to take of all that was discussed. It all happened quickly and I was very unprepared for it. I'm sure there will be more to come. So, the new news is that he got parts for my wife's car and had it fixed. She told me about it because she wanted to be honest. She said she didn't want to, but we can't afford to get it fixed and she needs it for the children. I agreed it was best off that it got done, but obviously it hurt me that it was done and we talked about that. The bad thing that happened is my wife put a lock code on her phone again, and then we talked about that and it came out, after a lot of prying, that he sent her a message that he loved her. I wish I could have seen the response to it, but everything was deleted. So now I have the Facebook message that she still wants to be with him, the car thing, and him telling her he loves her going on top of the she's still unhappy and distrusting I've changed thing. What am I doing anymore? She also canceled on seeing him today. She left to see him and called me crying a short while later saying she just had been sitting in a parking lot crying. She told me she is getting tired of dealing with everything and everyone. Doormat with an update. I don't doubt that everything is about the kid. I think him making a play for her is just so he can have the baby as much as possible. He's told her on a few occasions that she should just give him the baby and forget about it all. He's just trying to manipulate it. He's a used car salesman. Wife and I have had quite a few long talks here lately. I told her the situation we are in right now isn't working out, and it's time for us to separate. In a few months, financial constraints, she will be moving out to live on her own. We have laid down schedules for the kids staying with whom. I told her that the way things are going now is just the equivalent of being stuck in the mud. The tires are spinning and we're going nowhere. Both of us need to find some sort of self-identity and worth, and it's not going to happen with how things are now. She said she wants to do MC while we are living apart and try to get us back on track, but I told her she can't do that until she forgives. We had a very long talk about her not coming to grips with what happened and what she did, and it's something that weighs on her an unbelievable amount. She tries to carry the majority of the blame, and I told her that the only blame she has to carry is stepping out on us. The rest of it is equal. So, to summarize, wife moving out, working on myself, and I don't have to be a weekend-only dad. I am actually kind of excited about this, to be honest. I think it's good for us and best for me. My comment: OP, you deserve good things, and it appears your wife hasn't helped much. So, you go out there and kick some butt and take some names. You will find what you are looking for, and it most likely will be without your W.